Hello and welcome to Bonhill Geography. Today I'm going to dive into 4 techniques of soft engineering at the coast. This includes beach nourishment, reprofiling, sand dune regeneration and managed retreat. First up we have beach nourishment. Now this involves adding sand or shingle to the beach to combat erosion and increase the beach width. Now the sand that gets there is dredged from the seabed or imported from other locations and spread across the beach. The sand itself is meant to absorb the power of the waves, but this comes with advantages and disadvantages. Socially, it enhances the beach's aesthetic and increases the opportunity for recreational activities, for example, netball. Economically, it boosts tourism and protects coastal properties, as we said before, because the sand slows down the waves. Environmentally, it can help to create new habitats for coastal species, but it can be very costly because it requires regular maintenance, meaning it has to be repeated quite rapidly due to longshore drift taking the sand away. The dredging process can also significantly disrupt many marine organisms. In some circumstances, it can even make the rates of erosion even worse because there's less sediment available down the coast. However, really do remember that beach nourishment can significantly boost the local tourism to an area by creating wider, more attractive beaches that people want to visit. This is very different to things like hard engineering, where activities to protect the coast may actually deter lots of tourists. Next up, we have beach reprofiling. Now this technique involves redistributing sand from the lower parts to the upper parts of the beach. The sand is moved to create a more gradual slope. Again, this means that the waves themselves will have to move up it. This is going to reduce the wave energy and rates of erosion, particularly towards the back of the beach. Of course, the sand will be taken away again quite quickly. Now the strategy itself is actually quite cost effective and simple, that maintains the natural appearance of the beach. Obviously the sand will have to settle after this process has taken place. However, it only works well in areas with low wave energy, because if there's lots of destructive waves, the sand will be taken away too quickly. In addition to that, this process will have to be done quite frequently. Now, let's look at sand dune regeneration. This involves stabilising and rebuilding sand dunes using vegetation like marram grass. The plants are used to trap sand and build up the sand dunes. This creates a natural barrier against the sea. Socially, it provides natural beauty and again this idea of recreational space in some circumstances, which we'll talk about in a moment. Economically, it helps to protect those inland areas from flooding and storm surges and higher rates of erosion. Environmentally, this is one of the best options because it enhances biodiversity and creates new or improves existing sand dune habitats. But it does require careful management to protect new vegetation from trampling and can be damaged by storms. Let's touch more on this. Now, sand dune regeneration, yes, can attract ecotourism and nature enthusiasts, which can help to boost local tourism while preserving the landscape. But it can also lead to a decline in usable space on beaches for tourists, as lots of these areas have designated walkways with fences either side, where tourists are discouraged from walking upon them. Now, managed retreat, also known as coastal realignment, involves allowing the coastline to move inland to a new, more sustainable position. What I mean by this is it's no longer protecting certain areas. It's not giving up, it's allowing the natural process to take place. Now, this strategy is used to protect coastal communities and infrastructure from the impacts of coastal erosion, sea level rise and other coastal hazards. Now, the essentials are, it essentially includes intentionally breaching existing sea defences to allow the sea to inundate the land or flood the area behind it. Now, this creates new intertidal zone habitats and allows natural coastal processes to occur. Inland embankments may also be constructed to protect low-lying areas behind this from flooding. The most major advantage of managed retreat is its sustainability, because by working with natural processes, it reduces that need for constant human intervention and maintenance, so it can be economically as well as environmentally sustainable. It can create new habitats like salt marshes, which provide valuable ecosystem ecosystem services like flood protection and biodiversity enhancement. As previously stated, it can be more cost effective in the long term compared to maintaining hard engineering defences. You're essentially allowing the coast to do what it's meant to do. It also alleviates pressure on other areas of the coast, reducing their risk of flooding. However, managed retreat also has its disadvantages. Socially, it can be very disruptive and distressing for communities that might have to relocate. People might have strong attachments to their home and the local area, and being forced to move can be very challenging. Economically, the initial costs of relocating these communities and infrastructure can be very, very high. Additionally, there may be resistance from residents who don't want to leave their homes at all, leading to conflicts and potentially planning delays. Finally, we have a bit of an innovative approach. Now, this is using Christmas trees to create embryo dunes. These are the first part of our sand dune formation. Old Christmas trees are placed on the beach to trap sand and help form these new dunes. It's very cost effective, recycles waste and helps to stabilise those dunes quite quickly. However, the trees do need to be secured to prevent them from simply being washed away during the storms. Give this video a like if you think this is a good idea. As always, here's a summary slide. Please feel free to use this to improve your revision notes. Here are 4 example 6-mark questions, which are most likely the questions you'll receive on engineering strategies. Please feel free to pause here to have a try at the questions before you go through my model answers over the next few slides. I am going to reiterate how important it is to practice, not just practice revision. So you need to practice your questions as well as revising. Thank you for watching Bonhill Geography. I'll catch you in the next video.